Alrighty, so we've got this all going again. We're going to continue on because this is not really that exciting. So we're going to get the navigation tidied up. And we're going to learn how to look things up and go from there. So we're trying to make our visual links. So I don't want any of that. I want this one. Right. First of all of our 3 links, the words, home, gallery, contact, are under this tag here, just the red bit A. However, A is a link to go anywhere, and you could have multiple links on your page, such as you have an image that links somewhere and you don't want this necessarily to get the same kind of code. So you might say, well, I want the links inside the navigation. So to do that, we've got the navigation itself, and then we have the links inside the navigation. Okay. This, is all, hey, type it there, all links. And this one here is the each link word in nav. Okay, a little bit more descriptive, but you get the idea. Now the problem is, okay, so if we want to change the color, we've already got this here, background color. So how about we just reuse this and let's not try and reinvent the wheel. Background color, I don't know, let's just say white, okay, because we don't want too many colors. There we go. We've got that working. We've got something showing. Okay, so what's the difference here if I go background color, I don't know, let's go with gray. And then we can see this is the individual words versus the entire bar. Yet there's this red gap around the outside. Now if we go into, I don't need 2 of these, the developers tools, which is Control-Shift-I, and I go into elements, we can see here that if I highlight the whole document here, body, okay, because that's the whole thing. See, it's highlighting this orange piece here. So if we go here, this is margin 8. I didn't put margin 8, okay? And even between each word, there's a little bit of space. So this is some of the default spacing you get just coded in. So a body has 8 pixels margin. So you can see here, margin 8 pixels. Now we didn't write that because this is all we've written. We haven't put in a new rule for body. Whoa, why have I got caps lock on? Body with margin 8 pixels. Okay? Because if I change this to say 88, just for example, see this big space? Now if I highlight body, here, there's your 88 pixels spacing. So we never said this. So a little industry trick is to do an asterisk. Why an asterisk? Sorry, I like spacing between my stuff. An asterisk is because it means every tag that applies to your website. So if I say, okay, 20 pixels, look what it does. See, there's spacing between this too. So there is spacing between the nav A of 20 pixels and the nav itself has 20 pixels and the body has 20 pixels. So we've got spacing on spacing on spacing. So it's everything that applies to your website. Now if I do this, 0 pixels, oops. And another type of spacing is padding. Jeez, brain fart. Right, and so if we put these in, basically what this means is we turn off all the spacing that our website's going to get by default, and then we're going to choose whatever spacing we actually want when we're coding it. And in theory, no matter if you're using Firefox or any web browser, Chrome, Internet Explorer, whatever, it should all view pretty much the same. That's the idea. So we've got this here. Okay, great. Don't need to see you guys anymore. Go away. Now what we want to do is we're going to try and tell this text to sit in the middle. How do we do that? So let's look up some code to try to figure out how we're going to do this. So what language are we working in? Well, we're working in styles.css. This is CSS, a cascading style sheet, which basically means we do the styles in order from top to bottom. So for example, if I go background color red and then go background color gold. Let's see what it does. Gold. Why? It's like me giving you instructions. Sit down here. Actually, no. Sit down at the front. You're going to just do what I said last. Not, oh, well, he said sit down there in this chair first, and then I said, no, come sit down on the floor. So it does whatever it has last. That's what the cascading style sheet means. Right, so let's try and figure out how to get these in the middle. So if I look up CSS and I go text, oops, because I'm just wanting to get the text in the middle. So I'll say text, maybe say center. This W3 schools is like good. And see how it's auto prompted text align property? I didn't write text align, I just said text center. So even if your term's not quite right, it'll get the idea. Right. So you can obviously go see examples and what have you and look through this and go try it yourself and tinker. But here we've got all these things here. What we don't do is this, and highlight everything and then just paste it in. We don't do this either and just paste the whole thing in. What we want to grab is just this, right? Because in our code, do we have a div A? Now, if I'm looking here, there is no red tags that say div. We have an A, but not a div A. So it wouldn't work. Now, question is, which one do we put it on? Well, let's just try one. So save it there. See what happens. Refresh it. Okay, nothing. Now here's a little shortcut. If I click on the line that I want to move, I go Alt and use the up arrow key and it moves up. Obviously down does down. Now I've made a change, so I've got to save it, Control S, and go back. It's in the middle. There we go. It worked. So now if we want to make things like the text bigger, we can look up things like CSS text size. Font property. Okay, set the size. So if I take this, just because we take the bit in the middle, copy, and we try it here. See if it works. It didn't work. Right, let's try and move it to the other one. Did it work? It should have. Now what's the issue? What happens if this is already 15? Let's try and be practical about this. Well, that's the issue. So I can put it to 25. Okay, there we go. Let's get rid of this background color because it's pretty... maybe I'll leave it. Maybe I'll leave it and I'll adjust it. Right, so let's add some spacing then. Padding. We're going to say, no, tell you what. We're going to do this one here first. Padding, top, bottom, 20 pixels. Left, right, 0 pixels. So you can do one number and it does top, bottom, left, right. Two numbers. This is top, bottom, then left, right. And 4 numbers goes top, right, bottom, left. So you can individually adjust this. See how this is now thicker? But I want a gap at the top. So I can use another type of spacing. Margin. Top, bottom, 10 pixels. Left, right, 0 pixels. Let's tone this down a wee bit. Say 10. Nicer. Right. So we've got that there. Now what we want to do is I want to space these words from each other. So let's use the margin because it doesn't show up the background color. Margin. Top, bottom, 0 pixels for the spacing. Left, right, we can do things like 5%. What does it mean with a percent? When I resize this, see how this gap slowly shrinks in? Gets bigger and smaller. It's a percentage of how wide the screen is. Right, let's go padding. Top, bottom, we'll just say 5 pixels, and left, right, let's say 10 pixels. It's looking a little bit nicer. Let's just make this 15. Yep, there we go. Alrighty, now if we want to go change the color of the text, or if we want to go get rid of this underline, we can look that up. Obviously, we can look up a bunch of things. CSS, I'll say text color. Yes, I spelled color without a U because we spell American when we're coding. So text color, the color property. So it's just like this, color blue. So I might go, what am I doing? Back, right. I can go like this, color white. Yep, that's white. I'd say, let's make that black. Right, and then what we want to do is get rid of the link, the underline link. Now, this is one that trips people up, so let's look at this. CSS link, no underline. Color, that's doing color. We've done that before. This is to do with visited hover active. It's the state in the links. Maybe not. Text decoration. Decoration right is mostly used to remove underlines from links. That's exactly what we want. Text decoration, none. So there, because it's on the actual links themselves. Yeah, that's looking a bit better. Now what we can do is we can round these corners. Now trying to look that up, the rounding corners is quite difficult. So sometimes you just kind of need to know roughly what some things are called. So I'm going to go border dash radius 20 pixels. There you go. Border radius of 20 pixels. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to change the font here because it's a little bit standard and boring. So if we use a Google font, so if I go Google fonts, not translation, Google fonts. Sorry, I obviously look up Spanish a lot with my fiance being Spanish. Right, so, or Spanish speaker rather. This here is what we look through. Let's get rid of this. There's nothing selected. Right, okay, so this is our shopping for our fonts, right? Can we use lots and lots of different ones of these? You can use a couple, but if you start using too much, it tends to cause a few issues and conflicts. So we're just going to look through here and try and find the one I just closed because I like that one. So here we can see it here. So I click on it. And I'm like, where's this bar gone? See up here? View selected families. So I just click that. Oh, there it is. It's showing up here. So this is the one I've selected. Obviously, I can deselect it. But in here, it's giving us the links for stuff. We'll scroll up. Okay, so the link we want is not this @ link here. We want import. I'm going to highlight that. Copy it. We don't want the two things. And we're going to go right to the top of the sheet. Go to HTML, press enter, and chuck it there. Why? And it's like, oh, code's gone. No, it's just scrolled sideways. What we want to say is we're going to import the font first, then we're going to use it. Okay? It's like I can't ask you to build a fence if I don't give you the wood for the fence yet. Okay? So apply makeup. It's like, well, I need the makeup or the paint or whatever first before I do what I'm supposed to try to do. Nav A, because those are the words we want to change. Now, if we scroll down a little bit, this is actually how we use it. So we grab that. So we're going to use import. And then the font family is actual use. There you go. Now, last thing we're going to do we can actually do a couple things with this nav. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this so the buttons actually behave a little bit like buttons. See how the mouse changes because it's a link? Well, we want it to actually visually change here too. So we're going to use something called a pseudo class. Nav nav a hover. My bad. Come on, Mr. Greenwood. Right. So what I'm going to do is, let's see what we've got here. So I can go like this and go color. Oh no. Let's go background color, black. And I can go the color of the text, gold. You get this? Right. Now there is one thing that I wanted to do is I want to get this to fade from one color to another. So I will want the whole strip because it's nav. And it is a linear dash gradient. I can't remember quite how to type it, so this is why you look it up. CSS, go gradient. Gradient. There we go. So you get gradients to go top to bottom. You get gradients to go left to right. I want a left to right one. Well, there you go. That's why, because it's background image first, then linear gradient. I knew it was something like that. Right, so paste this in. And I want it to start off as black. black, and let's say to gray. Get that? Now I want this to fade from black to being completely invisible. So in order to do this, we have things called an RGB color, RGBA. So this is red, green, blue, alpha. This is how when we make our primary colors and mix it, alpha is your transparency. So if we do full red, because we're going from a black screen, because we're actually emitting light, so we're going, this is subtractive color. So we're going from 255 is full power, it's 100%. And we'll say 1. That makes it white. So if I say I want you to be 0, that is completely invisible. I save that. 0.0. Huh. Say 0.1. Why is it not doing the transparency? Well, that's not very helpful. Ah, you know why? Because there's a background color of white underneath it. Doofus. So I'll get rid of that. There you go. There's your fade. And I don't want 0.1. I want 0. Right, fades out completely. There's our links there. I want to change the color of my text to be white so it pops a wee bit. And what I can do as well under nav is I can go this border. So it's a solid border. No, hold on. 2 pixels thick border. It's a solid line, and the line is white. Now, if I move that line down to the hover, let's see how that works. See the sizes is jittering because I'm having size added on of 2 pixels. If I go inset, no, that's not helping. Right, solid white. Right, so let's move this up like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to add padding of 20 pixels. Right, it's a nave. Put that back. I want the padding on the whole thing just a bit bigger. Right, and border radius. Just say there's 25 pixels. Yes, it's more round now. It does this. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start looking to add a background image, add some more content here, and work from there. But that's where we'll stop this stage because we've got obviously quite a lot done. And I will start doing some stuff for actually doing a custom font that uses a different font. So there we go.